welcome to episode 21 of Live Free with Rebecca. We have a different background today. This is actually where the magic happens. This is my office here at the Live Free Academy headquarters. Our studio computer was having some technical difficulties, so we're just gonna have our episode and live stream today here, which is kind of fun because we have our feminine vibes, got the pink, the little meditating Buddha dude. So I think this will be a nice Zen space to have a conversation with Betsy Dewey today of Freedom Junkie Radio. She's also a successful musician, and we are beyond excited that she will be joining as the headlining act at the concert we're hosting Friday night, May 17th, for all Exit and Build Land Summit attendees. If you're able to come out in person, we're so excited. It's important to kick back, grab a drink, have some fun, dance, listen to good music. And I love Betsy's music. Very great lyrics if you've ever heard her various songs, and we'll get into that today too. As I understand, she's got some new music and new songs she's going to debut at the concert. So without further ado, let me bring Betsy onto the show. Hi, Betsy.
Hi, Rebecca and everybody.
Thank you so much for joining today. We're so delighted to have you play your amazing music at the Exit and Build Land Summit, the concert we're hosting at Community Gardens Friday, May 17th. I'd love for you to introduce yourself and your extensive work also with the Freedom Junkie Radio. I love everything you've been up to, and I've been able to have the honor of seeing you perform live a few times. So anything you want to share just to kick things off, introduce yourself to our audience if they're not familiar with your work already.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. One of the things that has been really powerful for me lately is being reminded of how important it is to be joyful and happy. And just because people are so bombarded with all this crap all the time, yeah. It's hard to remember that we're really here to enjoy this experience on the planet. But I am so excited about this song I wrote called Become Ungovernable with Me. I might just have to sing it for you today because
oh my gosh, yes.
I just want to sing it all the time. I woke up with the very first line of the song, kind of like I heard that Paul McCartney, when he wrote Yesterday, he woke up with it from having a dream, and I was practically asleep, and I was like, I'm just gonna go get my computer and see what happens. And the whole song came, and it's really, it turned out to be way more than I could have. So I am, I've always been a freedom junkie. It's just a highly independent, I want to figure it out myself. So since I was a teenager, and that probably was a little bit difficult for my parents, but they got over it. My husband's okay with it. He's like, do your thing, babe. So, when you said that you wanted to talk about like a freedom mindset and a liberty mindset today, that got me all excited too, because I think that we're so trained in our school system, particularly our school system, but in our religions too. People haven't figured out that it's all one religion. It's all love. Doesn't matter what you call God. And, but we're very trained to look to authority. And people are so trained to look outside themselves that they don't even stop to think for themselves. And that's what I want people to do. I want people to, when they get news like this morning that our First Amendment right to free speech was under attack, our representatives in Congress, the House of Representatives, passed this asinine bill that would curtail our right to free speech. Newsflash. That you can't curtail that. It's a natural right. It's enumerated in the Constitution. Anyway, so it's unconstitutional, and I believe in thinking for yourself and standing up to authority. In fact, I don't believe in authority. You should be your own authority. And we can just talk about all that. And so I do have a podcast called Freedom Junkie Radio that I've really enjoyed doing. I did about 60 episodes, and I'm in a hiatus right now. You may get there in yours when you're like, I just need a break. There's everything that brings more freedom into our lives, from things like giving birth at home and green burials, like birth and death, to constitutionalism, to I've interviewed all kinds of people about various things that bring. I just went dark. Oh,
Yeah,
you're
I
pulling
was
up
going to share your Freedom
there it
Junkie
is.
Radio
Oh
since you're
yeah.
talking about
Oh, that's
that.
cool. Yeah. There's I interviewed Henna Maria. That was awesome. Things that parasite cleanses, things that bring more freedom into our lives, whether it's medical freedom or otherwise. So, and in the
Yeah.
music, that's just something I can't help. But I'm at the point in my life where if we can't maintain liberty for future generations, then what on earth are we doing? So that's it. That's what. And you guys, I mean, I don't know. Anyone who's listening or your audience, they're already going to have a liberty mindset. So I feel like I'm totally preaching to the choir here, but.
Yeah, it's all so aligned. I love too on your Telegram channel. I'll look at like things that are posted on John's Live Free page, and then yours. I'm like, oh my gosh, the memes. There's like an ether of like memes that are just like, whew. But lots of overlap in your ideologies and kind of the message we have with Exit and Build and Living Free. So it's all very resonant. Let's tap in. You said something too about home birth and homeschooling. And do you have any? You have kiddos, right? And you've kind of pursued this lifestyle in those areas. So on the, we've talked about music and kind of philosophical standpoints, but a lot of what we do with Exit and Build is just like, what are things that we can do without voting or without, feeding the parasite to take that power back into our own hands? And so since you've kind of pursued this lifestyle, do you care to share any tips or wisdom for folks who are listening?
Yes. Almost everything we truly believe is pretty much BS. And so we think we just truly believe we're supposed to give birth in a hospital. And it's just not the case. The hospital can screw things up really bad, really fast. And our bodies know how to give birth. I have lucked into so many of these things. When I was in my 20s, I was teaching music at home in North Carolina, and I tapped into the homeschool community. And the first time I had a homeschool, I'll come back to home birth. First time I had a homeschool student, I didn't know what homeschool was. I thought that doesn't sound. We've been trained, deeply programmed that our children go to school. They go to school. That's what you do. And it isn't true. It doesn't have to be that way. I remember thinking, homeschool, that sounds crazy. What I learned over teaching these homeschool kids back in the 90s was that they were my best students. They were the ones that looked me in the eye when I was teaching them. They listened to what I was saying. They cared about being there. They went home and did the work. Really, they were just head and shoulders above my school students. And I just noted that. And I thought, I think maybe if I ever have kids, I might try homeschooling them. And so that seed was planted. And then fast forward 5 or 10 years, and I got invited to a home birth. Again, it was my sister-in-law's child giving birth to her second child, who's my nephew. And I had no idea that you could give birth at home. I walked into that home birth, and it was the polar opposite of Hollywood, of, screaming blood, bloody murder, people on a gurney rushing you down the hallway in a hospital and being hooked up to stuff. It was the polar opposite. It was quiet. There was quiet music playing. There were candles lit. There was some incense. There were women making tea. They were the midwives and the midwives' assistants. And here was my sister-in-law giving birth on a king-size bed at home. And it was peaceful. And it was magical. And I don't like hospitals, so I instantly was that. Oh, well, and then the story was amazing. I mean, the midwife went into the zone like Michael Jordan when he was born with the cord wrapped around his neck 3 times. And she knew what to do. She went right into the zone. She took the cord off. She rubbed him on the back. He turned from blue to pink and took a breath. And I thought, that's who I want delivering my babies when the time. And anyway, so I did all that. I home birthed both my kids, and it was that experience right there I would give to any woman if I could. It was absolutely the most empowering thing. It turned me into thinking I was a warrior into knowing I'm a warrior. It's absolutely alchemical. And then homeschool was just absolutely an absolute from the beginning, because by the time we had kids, we knew that it was an indoctrination center that we'd be sending them off to. So we just never did it. And our kids are now, my kids are 18 and 14, and they're still homeschooling, and they are amazing people who think for themselves and have no idea what the school system's like. So yeah, those are two great things to do. Highly recommend if you are considering a lifestyle that is the way, maybe, I don't know, maybe humans were supposed to be, you know, like we need to rethink things. We really do.
Yeah, it's like there's a retrograding happening, like where a lot of people are kind of waking up to, hey, we've gotten strayed so far away from the way in which our species evolved, which was, with tribes and communally and working amongst one another and eating food from the land, not processed, subsidized poison. Like it's just so much awakening happening at this time. It's just so inspiring. But yeah, I think sharing stories like that's really powerful, because there are a lot of narratives around like trauma, fear, like bright lights, hospital, like it's this way, or you could die, or the baby could die. Like obviously people should make the choice that's what they feel the most comfortable with. But yeah, that was interesting for you to say, made you go from like thinking as a warrior to like really knowing and becoming that you are a warrior. Is like so empowering. And I feel like that empowerment is kind of robbed, if you're in a situation where it's like, oh, I need all these things, I need to be cut open, I need what. Anyway, I could go talk about that for a long time, but I've done some research recently. John and I are thinking about making a little baby, so I'm like, okay, let me learn more about all these.
Well, I want to recommend
alternatives.
I wrote a book called Birthright, and it is
awesome.
Everything I learned from my midwives, from a layperson's standpoint, because and I wrote it for everyone who's just planning on giving birth in the hospital, because I learned how to have a healthy pregnancy and a healthy like do it naturally, and I wrote it all in a book. It's called Birthright, and you have to put in Birthright Betsy Dewey on Amazon in order to find it. If you just put in Birthright, it won't come up.
All right. I think in the comment section.
I think anything they can do to put us in a state of fear is part of what they've done. And so around birth, they've put women in a state of fear instead of
empowerment.
This is going to be one of the most amazing things you do. And you want to do it. You want to have control over it. And it's amazing. It really is.
Yeah, I found this term and this like movement called ecstatic birth or orgasmic birth. I'm like, there's like a totally different spin than what, the, like you were saying in the movies, you always see the horror and trauma and all this. It's like, that's kind of, oh, I can't do this on my own kind of a feel. But yeah, having that supportive team and like the midwives and guiding through and like, I just want like the feel of like Himalayan pink salt lamps and not like bright lights shooting down my face and like, why do they have women lay horizontally? Like, it really just makes no sense. Like gravity, hello, like we should be moving. Like, it's just so, of course you're going to need to get cut open if you're like pumped full of all this Pitocin and like, just completely all this intervention. But sorry, I'm like straying away from the original topic, but like these are important things that influence you, right? And like your music has a way with the lyrics of really pointing to some of the just not corruption, but I want to say like when I listen to your songs, it kind of shines light on like how backwards a lot of things are and poking fun at it, but also like being playful and like you were saying, coming from a place of joy and happiness. Do you want to speak a little bit about what's inspired your music? And you wrote 2 new songs, it sounds like recently. It sounds like you're inspired to share there too. So I'll let you take it away on that topic.
Well, I've been writing songs since I picked up a guitar when I was about in my teens. And as soon as I learned 3 chords, I didn't mean to, but I was a poet and a rapper in high school. So that turned into country music real quick, kind of country, kind of folk, kind of rock, whatever it is. And so I just honor them when they come. I'm not one of these songwriters that sits down and says, I'm going to write a song today. I don't have what would you call it? A practice where you sit down and, I'm going to write a song. I don't do that. I can go years without writing a song, but the muse has been knocking on my door a ton lately. And when that little beginning of a song comes or when a hook line comes, I just honor it and allow it to come through. And I don't usually know. The song Alex Jones was right. That was a different scenario. I kept thinking, he has been vindicated so many times. I mean, I think that's the word, right? Vindicated.
Yeah.
He has been, I mean, so many of the things that he told us were going to happen. Now, he's not right all the time. That's not what the song
like
says.
The frogs turning gay.
I mean,
he gets so much
crazy,
shit for the atrazine stuff.
Okay, well, so you know that when you know something that other people don't know, then you sound crazy. And so, like raise your hand. We've all been there where the whole room of people, whether it's a dinner party or your family, is looking at you like you're absolutely insane. But you just know something they don't know yet. And poor Alex Jones, he's been there forever, like way ahead of the curve. Now, he's not always right, and he doesn't know everything, but he has warned us of a lot of things. And over the COVID, I mean, he had warned us of a pandemic that was it wasn't going to be the pandemic that killed everybody. It was going to be the vaccines. He told us that 10 years ago. Anyway, I kept thinking, somebody needs to write the song Alex Jones was right. Somebody needs to write the song Alex Jones was right. I kept thinking that. And then it was the 4th of July. I think it was 2021. It was either 2020 or 2021. We had friends over, and I got the whole chorus came, and I went and sat down and wrote the whole song in 30 minutes. And it just flowed. It absolutely. So I just allow it to, and I think of them as gifts. If I didn't put my antenna up, somebody else would have. So
it's like downloading through, and you're able to then like share all of that. Like you were saying, somebody should. It's like, no, I'm that somebody. Like, but yeah, what are some other songs that we're going to be hearing at the Exit and Bill Lamb Summit concert that you're headlining?
Well, so you're asking me about my songwriting. Where's a pick? I woke up the other morning with I woke up with "Climb Into My Bathroom, Baby," and I was sitting there going, "That's not a good line. How about Window?" And I went from there. And can I sing it for you?
Yeah, let's go. Woo-hoo.
I'm so excited about this, y'all.
All right, everyone in the comments section, cheer Betsy on. Let's go.
Okay, it starts out with "Climb Into My Window, Baby." And then I had no idea where it was going. Just wait until you see where this goes.
All right.
Climb into my window, baby. Tell me that you'll always love me, and that you just wanna be free, and that you'd like to try out anarchy. What matters most is sovereignty, that you wanna build a house and have babies, chickens, pigs, and goats and ducklings. You want experiences, not things. We'll grow a big fat garden, we'll pickle cukes and we'll pardon the world for having gotten so crazy. We'll be thinking things and it won't faze me. Stand by the post that says no standing, fish in the pond where it says no fishing. Come in the exit, wild and free, become ungovernable with me.
Woo, yeah.
I know I want a house in the country. I know I want to have my babies in the bed, and I want to keep them with me. The most important thing will be family. Won't give them to the state for their schooling. We're the head of our house, and we're ruling, doing it our way, running through the flowers, swimming in the creek, singing by the hours. Tell me you don't believe in authority. You've read Spooner, you're not like the majority. Truth is we were born free, not meant to be shackled by anything. Stand by the post that says no standing, fish in the pond where it says no fishing. Come in the exit, wild and free, become ungovernable with me.
Woo!
The system and we'll be free. We'll be happy, we'll drive people crazy. We'll raise our meat cruelty-free. We'll be sure to question everything. We won't own a TV. We'll bake our bread and we'll raise honeybees, lighthearted and grateful for everything. We'll take responsibility and we'll work hard creating reality, giving thanks for all the blessings, the ones that are here and the ones that are coming. Truth is we were born free, not meant to be shackled by anything. Stand by the post that says no standing. Fish in the pond where it says no fishing. Come in the exit wild and free. Become ungovernable. Become ungovernable. Become ungovernable with me.
Woo! Yay! I love that. Oh my gosh, that needs to be our theme song for the Accidental Land Summit. I love it.
And I'm so excited that Emma Zek and Derek Bros are going to be playing.
Yes. Yeah, actually, so I saw Derek has been performing for a while, and he does more of like the conscious hip hop. We've Nicholas Aslan as well. He's local and does the conscious hip hop. But yeah, Emma Zek, I've been following her work, and I just, she posted, I think her album came out in like August last year, and I just was listening to all the songs on her YouTube channel like over and over, and I just really was getting into her music. And for my birthday last year, John surprised me and had her out to play for my birthday party in October.
Oh, like, yeah, no, she's very talented.
I thought that you were in like England right now, but she had just posted that she was recording at the Abbey Road Studios. So like, ooh la la, like I didn't even know she was in the United States. I was so surprised. But anyway, after the birthday performance, like, hey, you should play at the Land Summit. So we got a stellar lineup. We've got you, Emma Zek, Derek, Nicholas. It's going to be so much fun. I think I have the flyer somewhere. I could screen share that. But yeah, it'll be really great. And we have this also, I don't know if folks are from Central Texas, but I think it's important to be in an environment that's conducive to like really enjoying, the frequencies and vibrations. So we're hosting the concert outside of the convention center. It's going to be at Community Gardens, which is a local nursery. They have a restaurant, a coffee shop, a barbecue, food truck, a bar. They've got all sorts of stuff they've built out. It's a really cool venue that hosts, usually folks go there to buy plants and gardening supplies, but there's like a big stage in the back and string lights. It's like a super cool vibe. So it'll be a lot of fun, but that song is so perfect for the event. I love it. I'm so glad that came through so that you can have that.
I know. As soon as I wrote it, I thought this is the perfect, and I just debuted it on your live.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking I should have our friend that does our social media stuff take a snippet from this interview, and then we can post the song and be like, guess what? But we do have folks who are tuning into this live stream. Of course, the replay will be out too, but I love that. That was so awesome. Yeah, and then on the Instagram post I did today, I found your music there and had the song, the What's in the V song. I love that one. That was when that one was released, I was like, oh, this needed to be said.
Well, and it's crazy that song that should have been called What's in the Vaccine. I guess you're streaming live on YouTube, which is funny because I feel like...
I know. I need to get on Odyssey and all of that. I have, after the Land Summit event, my intention is to shift everything onto the more alternative platforms. I've just been like, this is the thing, the program that I use streams it to Facebook and YouTube, but I can do Odyssey and Telegram also. So I'm gonna shift my setup.
I have had to censor myself on YouTube. I don't have all my podcasts on there because I would get strikes and get taken down. So as far as the music goes, the What's in the Vaccine, the 8 questions that it asks are so important. And I wrote that in 2021. And I thought that if enough people, because it's so catchy, the What's in the Vaccine, and little girls, when they hear that song, they'll start walking around just accidentally going, what's in the vaccine? I've heard it. And I'm like, okay, if I can get little 8-year-old girls running around everywhere they go, singing this, then people will go, what is in the vaccine? Like, why don't I look and see? Oh, the insert is blank. I mean, all of that. Remember all that? But I think it's got, I don't even know how many views on YouTube. My stuff is like, they call it DB. Yeah, so nobody hears that.
Yeah, the censorship is bad, and it was especially bad during the pandemic. And so I do find it kind of hypocritical that I stream on YouTube or whatever, but I'm like, usually I'm just talking about homesteading and gardening, but it's like crazy how much dings and like strikes, and like Derek's channel a few years ago was literally just completely taken down. Like his entire channel was just like, bye, like poof. And so I need to like back up all my stuff and all that. But
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently on X, if you interact with someone who's deboosted,
wow,
then you get deboosted. They're
it's
using
like
the word
social credit score thing, but like an early
yes.
version of it.
Mm-hmm.
These crazy algorithms. Yeah, I know it's weird times that we're living in, but I think more important than like overthinking like what channel or that's like letting the perfect be the enemy of the good is just like getting the information out there and like having that exposure and touching people. And I feel like, whatever channel is going to help and reach different demographics, like I don't use TikTok. I find it like super creepy, and I don't know when you download it, the way it has access to things. We have actually one of the sponsors of the Land Summit. His name's Hakeem. He used to go by Ramiro, but he has this phone called the Above phone that he sells. I actually used one for a few years, and then it wasn't linking up right with my car because I drive a Tesla. I know people hate Tesla, but anyway, the app wasn't working properly, so I switched back to a normal phone. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because everything, you can download the different app stores, so you don't have to use Google Play Store or the iPhone Apple Store, which, a lot of stuff's tracked and traced in these different apps that we have. Like even Google Maps is super creepy knowing all the different locations you go to. But anyway, on the phone, it helps you so that you're able to have a head start to being like encrypted and like having your tech being more in alignment with privacy rights and stuff like that. So I need to get back on that bandwagon, but he probably would strangle me if he knew that I were streaming to YouTube.
Well, someone just commented and said if it weren't, hi Dante, he said if it weren't for the tube, you'd have less reach. I wouldn't be here now. So it's true. We try. Yeah.
I mean, and it's not all bad. I know that there have been a lot of censorship issues when like that's clever that you named it What's in the V, because if you even use that word, it's like we can't even like have a conversation about it, and it was really bad during the pandemic. Like it was something that I just chose not to communicate with some people about because there was so much emotion over it. And it's like, I'm just going to make this decision for myself. Like, I'm not killing grandma. Like I felt like if I talked to some people about that topic, I was going to get completely ostracized. It was very contentious, like in that climate. And maybe things have died down a little bit nowadays, especially now that folks are seeing all the myocarditis and like issues that have linked to what, and a lot of people took it because they felt like it was the right thing to do. So there's just a lot of emotions around it, and it wasn't like a logical decision. I don't even think a lot of people thought about what was in the V. They just were like, the TV is telling me to do this, and I'm a good citizen, so I'm going to do this because I'm a good person. And it's like, if you don't do it, you're not a good person and you're selfish. So those were like the,
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could have named it What's in the Vaccine at the time, but I knew 100% that it wouldn't get through the gauntlet of being published on Spotify and on Apple Music and on YouTube. And so I called it We Can Agree. That's one of the lines in the song, We Can Agree. And then quote in parentheses, what's in the V. And it made it through the gauntlet. It is actually amazing to me that it made it through. And somebody told me early on, they said that the closed captions were in like Dutch or something. And so it made it through that too. It didn't get picked up by the spiders. And so it's still on there. The song is still on there.
Is that coming through? Did that work?
What?
Can you hear that?
What?
I was starting to play the song. I just don't know in my office if the studio's set up right. Can you hear this?
No. I could play the beginning of it.
Oh yeah, why don't you play it live if you're down? Yeah. All right, let's go. Take it away. Woo! What's in the beat?
I'll just play the beginning and through the chorus because that's the important part.
Okay.
All the hippies in Austin think that they should wear a mask. But what they did was forget to think, and they forgot to ask, what is a virus? Where do they come from? Do masks even work? Is government a good thing? Is it possible there's an agenda to enslave us all? Why do celebrities throw up satanic symbols when Joe Biden speaks? Why don't we know what he means and what's in the vaccine?
Woo!
Yeah. It's fun.
Well, there's going to be a lot of great music at the concert. We're excited for you to join us for that. And then, is there anything else you want to share? Folks, do you have any questions? I can pull up questions from the audience. Anything else you want to touch on, Betsy?
I mean, I just love the idea of getting people to think in a liberty mindset instead of an authoritarian, the mindset that we've been given. Dr. Marlene, I don't know if you know who she is. She's amazing. She talks about a liberty mindset versus a slave mindset, and the language that we choose to use, and the way we choose to live, and recognize just to think for yourself and to question things and to recognize that you have natural rights, God-given rights, and that you do not have to comply. And so, anything that isn't a law, which, there's a lot of things that are like mandates, mandatory. They have other words for them. You can say no. And I don't know, just dig out your inner rebel and live free. I love the way you guys have branded what you do and the whole freedom cell concept of people living off the land and feeding themselves. We don't have to go to the grocery store. Of course, the grocery store has a lot of great stuff. But if it came down to it, can you take care of yourself? Do we have to look to someone else? Just all of these things that bring us more sovereignty make you feel strong and letting go of fear. We are all going to die. It's the truth. So just get over it. Doesn't matter when. Just live free until you die. I love the way y'all have Live Free Academy, and everything that you and John are doing is just
Thank
wonderful.
you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I think too, it's like a balance. It's like, don't beat yourself up if you're not there 100% yet. Like, we did homeschooling for a long time, but then most recently, the kiddos are a little older, and now they're doing this like charter school, and it has agriculture at the core. So it's like there's a time and place, and sometimes things are dynamic and they evolve and change, and it's like, do what's right for you in that moment and finding those best options, but like not beating yourself up if you're not like, sometimes you're having to stray and go shop at HEB or whatever instead of the farmers markets. It's like, hey, we're all doing our best, but there's everyday decisions that we can make with our dollar, with our time, with our focus, our energy. And so long as we're moving the ball down the court, in the right direction, that's, I feel like, what's most important.
Yeah. Everything you do, every little thing, even just smiling at people when you walk, just letting them remember that the world isn't awful. It's not.
Yeah, I was in Phoenix with my family a few weeks ago, and I was staying at my sister's, and every morning she would have the news on, like Good Morning America. And it was always like, I just told her, like, after being there for a few days, like, I can't do this. Like, it was just like, this horrible thing happened. This horrible thing happened. Fear, fear, fear. And I like turned the TV off and the news and stuff. I think it was like in 2013 or 2014, I was working this political campaign, and it was like literally driving me crazy. So I was like, I'm not going to watch the news anymore. I'll still read the news, but I'm not going to allow that to like even get into my psyche. But being at her house, it was like, that's how she would start her day. And I'm not trying to criticize her or be negative. I love my family, but I verbalized to her, like, this is all like so much negativity to just now the rest of your day, you're in this like lower vibration of like, all these bad things, instead of like let's go outside, let's water the garden, let's, enjoy some time outdoors and watch the butterflies float around. It's like, I don't know what I'm trying to say other than it's crazy how like these stimulus can really impact the vibrational frequency of every decision you make for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of the month, the year, then your life, like, yeah, little things, micro miracles can really work outwardly to help, like what you're saying. Something small.
I completely forgot about, until you just said that, I forgot people do that because we haven't had a TV. I haven't watched TV since the 90s. Of course, it's been on when I go to my parents' house and stuff because I knew back then. I read Behold a Pale Horse by Bill Cooper, and I was awakened to, somebody told me, they just looked at me, I said something about something I saw on the news early on in my life, and someone said, it's propaganda, Betsy. And I was like, what? The news is propaganda? And as soon as you get that seed planted and you start hearing it, and you're like, oh my God, they're telling me exactly whatever they want me to hear. And I went and lived in France when I was young too. I went a couple of times. I went in high school and in college and in grad school. Spent a semester one in Paris and one in Aix-en-Provence. And what they're getting on TV over there is totally different than what we're getting on. And I was like, oh, this is what they want them to think. I don't know what they're hearing in the United States right now, but it's whatever they want us to think. They were totally manipulating the thoughts of 300 million people, or actually billions of people all over the world. And people think crazy things.
Then the advertisements are like, yeah, it's like, do you have anxiety? Are you depressed? Take this pharmaceutical. Like, of course, people are going to be feeling anxious after watching that program. Like, one of the things in the morning when I was at her house watching those reports, I was just kind of curious, like, what does the mainstream even like? What's going on in these thoughts? And sometimes I listen to NPR just out of curiosity. But like, one of the things was this guy running up to a church and just pushing this lady down the stairs, and you see her, and she like falls back. They keep replaying it. I'm like, that was just one story, one example, but it's like, these are things that happen, right? And it's not good, but it's like, if you're starting your day and you're just seeing like violence, injury, pain, bad things, like you're kind of being brainwashed to like, really live in paranoia and like anxiety and like is that gonna happen to me? Like what, like instead of kind of taking those blinders off and perspectacles so that you can have different perspective from a place of like, let's work together, let's find peace, let's find harmony, let's, go support the local economy. Like, yeah, it's all very backwards, it feels. But.
Yep, we're creating the world. I just came across, I haven't read it yet, but there's a woman who, we've been misled about Mexico so badly. It's just so beautiful and so sweet. I don't want to say it's peaceful. We went last year and we had a great time. Of course, we were careful. They say don't go out at night, by yourself or something. But a girl just rode her bike across all the way down Mexico, her motorcycle. And she's going to continue on into South America. But she just wrote, I'll find it for you so you can post it. A friend of mine just posted it, and someone read the article and said, it makes me feel so good about the world. She's like, Mexico, because I love you.
Yeah.
And she went across Mexico by herself on a motorcycle, y'all. We are not being told the truth, period. So turn it off and create your world. There.
Yes, and come out to the Land Summit, the Exxonville Land Summit, so that you can see Betsy and other amazing musicians perform live. We're going to have our concert on Friday, May 17th. The event's at the Bastrop Convention Center. Surround yourself with positive, happy people who are change makers and, radiate more of that in the world. That's the goal. So thank you so much, Betsy, for being on the show. I have your website here. So for folks who want to keep in touch, we have the freedomjunkieradio.com website at your disposal. Go check it out. Subscribe. There's also an active Telegram page that Betsy runs that I follow. So that's nice. If you're not on Telegram, you certainly should be. Speaking of getting onto alternative channels, that's where a lot of the magic happens, at least for us in our activism. But thank you so much, Betsy. Thank you for performing live, too. That was just like totally awesome. So really appreciate that and can't wait to see your set at the Exxonville Land Summit.
Well, thanks for having me, Rebecca, and I'll be seeing you soon. And thanks for everybody who listened, and sending you all just a giant, just wrapping you all in golden light and love.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay, y'all. Well, that was amazing. I really loved Betsy's music. That was so cool that she played live. I've never had that happen before on the podcast. So really happy about that new song she wrote. Nobody had ever heard that before. So very exciting. And she'll have a full set at the Exit and Build Land Summit. Again, this is taking place May 17th through May 19th. Let me see if I can screen share actually, so you guys can check out the website. So this is exitandbuildlandsummit.com. You can register for free if you are going to be watching virtually. Of course, the in-person event, there is a ticket charge because it comes with lunch and all that jazz. So if you're able to join us in person, here's what the site looks like. Simply click this secure your spot button, and it's going to bring you to the various options. You just put in your name, your email, and then you'll be prompted to select if you would like the in-person ticket or if you would like your free virtual ticket. We do also have options for folks to upgrade to the virtual immersion pass, where we have our workshops and more interactive and in-depth streaming for the second half of day 2 and all of day 3. We got a stellar lineup, y'all. JP Sears, you guys know JP Sears, amazing, famous comedian. He is amazing in terms of comedy, but also in terms of his stance on freedom. He's very active and very out there and vocal, you know, especially during the pandemic. Like Betsy and I were discussing, things were like super censored, and it was a refreshing change of pace to see his posts and kind of poking fun at some of the things that were happening, because yeah, wow, what a time, right, that we all lived through. And comedy, of course, and art is a way for us to really, you know, recalibrate and reconnect to our core and things that maybe are taken so seriously that we can see from a different perspective and come to terms with. But JP Sears is awesome. So we're really excited to have him speak the second half of day 2, Saturday. That'll be like the food production day. We're going to talk about cash flow on properties, entrepreneurship. When you buy the land, what do you do next? How do you sustain it financially? How do you sustain it emotionally, spiritually, finding other people to jam with, so that you can escape that 9-to-5 rat race life, escape the matrix. We have the OG himself, Jack Spirko of the Survival Podcast, joining us. He'll be speaking primarily about compost. So we're really going to focus too on like regenerative agriculture, permaculture. Derek Bros, the founder of the term Exit and Build, he will be presenting on day 1. We're excited to also have an entire presentation about the Eagle and Condor prophecy, which is actually the theme of this year's event. And we thought the most appropriate people to discuss this, Yosha and Pola Pantera. They're traveling internationally to be with us. They are going to be kind of setting the stage, one of the first presentations for the event, so that we can really look through the lens of the Eagle Condor prophecy and contemplate and comprehend the urgency, really, and that the time is now. And this is like beyond our individual selves. It's a bigger thing happening here to regenerate the soil, to regenerate the planet, to co-create and connect with one another. Cynthia Tina, the leading expert in community matchmaking, will be joining us. She'll be facilitating the online community matchmaking. And of course, we'll also have in-person community matchmaking. So if you want to buy land, or if you want to connect with someone who already has land, join an existing community, we're going to have a full 2-hour workshop helping you find other people to do this with. Or if you have your own homestead and you simply want to connect with folks in your area to barter with or to jam with, this is going to be an awesome exercise. And she's doing an introduction to the international and United States-based intentional communities on day 1 as well. There are thousands of these communities that exist. We are not alone. There are so many different legal systems that are being utilized in order to either create alternatives and create private realm alternatives and agreements, or to own your parcel and have, you know, access to the remaining acreage where the communal amenities are featured. We'll have Molly Engelhart. Man, she's getting some heat right now. I don't know if you guys are following her in the media. She has her vegan chain restaurant in California. just announced last week, actually, because she is, a big fan of regenerative agriculture. Well, anyway, they're going to start serving meat on their menu, of course, ethically raised and all of this. But so she's kind of getting dragged through the ringer right now. But, a lot of folks have seen the documentary Kiss the Ground. She's on the board of Kiss the Ground. They actually just created a sequel, Common Ground, and we will be screening Common Ground at the Sovereignty Ranch Farm Tour, which is on Monday, May 20th. So if you're able to come in person, you'll be invited to register for the immersive farm tours. So we're going to have on Thursday, May 16th, a Central Texas farm tour schedule that you can sign up for both days, whether you go on Monday or on Thursday. You can also do both. They're both $60 a piece. It comes with lunch. It comes with the tour of the farm. And like I was saying, for Molly's tour on Monday at Sovereignty Ranch in Bandera, Texas, you will actually get to see Common Ground, which isn't even out publicly in movie theaters. It's just done select screenings. And the producers are going to do a live Q&A. So really cool that we've lined all this up. Their property is actually like 200 acres. So you'll see a super duper large scale operation. But anyway, she's also presenting at the event Saturday afternoon. So that'll be really nice to hear from Molly. Patry Friedman is going to be joining us. For anyone who's heard of startup societies or charter cities, private cities, and also seasteading, which is floating cities, so you can basically have no legal jurisdiction, just be in autonomous international waters and creating your own kind of floating nation islands like this. That was a really cool Seasteading Institute was really cool. When I learned about it, it kind of put a lot of this into perspective for me, which we're doing this on land, but to see how that can work in terms of experimental governance, entrepreneurship, and having maximized freedom, and seeing voting with your feet and your geography, and having that geographical freedom. Really cool work that Patry Friedman has done. But he also has Pronomos Capital, and so if you're looking to kind of see a bigger picture view of how all this could work and come together, he's going to be presenting one of the last speeches on day one, Friday. We also have our local realtor rock star Deb Dahlberg Rowland joining us. She's actually helping John and I in our search for a 100+ acre property here in Central Texas, so that we can build out a eco development and have folks live in community and eventually replicate it all over the world, so that so many people can live free and do so in style and not sacrificing modern day amenities. Kurt Knock, Lucinda Bailey will be presenting from Texas Ready. We have Danny and Vanessa Penzella Velez. They are going to be presenting on indigenous wisdom and really tapping back into our roots. This will be after the Eagle Condor Prophecy talk that Yoshi and Paula are putting on. Angelle Miller traveled all the way from Canada to present and back to entrepreneurship and ways to monetize your property. There are ways to do this where you have amazing ROI. You can do short-term rentals. She also has a store where when people stay at the glamping resort, Creekside R&R Glamping, everything is sourced from local artisan goods, local community. So everything down to the soap, even the furniture. So when people are checking out, they can actually take some of those goods with them if they want to check out at the general store that she has on her property. So just really cool ways to monetize your homesteading if you are wanting to get out of your 9-to-5 job and pursue cash flow opportunities on the land. She's also just an incredible entrepreneur. I actually used to work with Angelle back in the day when I helped grow the My Magic Mud tooth powder and oral care, activated charcoal oral care empire. Which was a very interesting time of my life, but learned a lot about the natural products industry. That's really how I got into the farmers markets, and that was a very interesting journey. We went from a farmers market booth to an international best-selling oral care line, and Angelle Miller was our broker in Canada and got us into all the big box stores there, massive distribution. So she is a total powerhouse. We're very excited to have her join us. And then Murad, who I actually just interviewed yesterday, he is the founder of The Ark. That's the eco village down in Costa Rica that I visited back in January. Huge master plan, lots of amazing amenities incorporated, really cool system in which they have this development set up. They've already sold over, I think, 14 lots, and they have 88, I believe, in their site map. So it's a pretty large scale project. But anyway, he'll be sharing about that. And then, yes, guys, I'm just kind of going on and on, but you can review this schedule yourself and the speaker lineup. It's pretty epic, honestly. Lots of great speakers will be joining us. I mean, we have literally the co-originator of permaculture himself virtually streaming in, David Holmgren from Australia. He'll be presenting on Saturday night. So this is just a stellar all-star lineup. Bradley Logan speaking about PMAs, land trust, starting a 508 ministry, all these alternative ways to, have your community or homestead set up, your business set up. The Charan, Mexico town representatives, we're going to have a representative join us to share about their uprising in Charan, Mexico. It's an autonomous town. They are now operating with their indigenous decision-making mechanisms. They're reforesting, they're regenerating after the cartels, loggers, and politicians colluded to take down their trees, their sacred forests, their sacred springs were compromised. And the town women and children actually rose up and said, "Basta, enough is enough." John and I actually visited Charan, Mexico. Such a cool experience. But anyway, so their story is really cool. And it's literally a town of over like 18,000 people operating with these alternative decision-making and indigenous, ways to operate as a community. And so, it can be done at a larger scale. And the way that they're also working together as a community to reforest and have all the greenhouses where they're growing more of the trees and they're replanting and everything, and the spring is flowing again. It's so cool to see all that has been done in just over 10 years. So they're really, I think, a beacon of hope seeing what they've done there in Charan, Mexico. And yeah, now they don't have politicians. They don't even let you have a bumper sticker on the back of your car about voting. They're really, really cool. You can learn a little bit too about Charan if you want to ahead of time. Derek Brose did a great video and article in the Conscious Resistance. But yeah, Darren with Freedom Farm. So guys, check out the speaker lineup. It's really awesome. We're going to have 3 full days of fun. The full schedule is here. So I kind of was explaining this while introducing the speakers. You can check out the full lineup here. It's an awesome flow. We'll kind of start off seeing some of these successful homesteads, which, people who have bought land or, building out these properties and just starting off with, what have we done right? What have we done wrong? And those strategies that have worked for them or strategies that haven't. Folks from the local community in Central Texas who've bought land and kind of their processes as they've built out their communities over time. And then on, various other communities will be presenting, and we're going to have day 2 primarily about entrepreneurship and cash flow, because you have to have resources in order to make this lifestyle happen. So we got to be real about that. Alternative to banking and Liberty Dollar, they have, the silver. We actually made an exit and build silver coin. It's pretty cool. But anyway, they'll be presenting, and I had talked about the above phone. So this is a presentation by Hakeem regarding regenerative technologies for your land project. We're going to have a very long panel, an hour and 15 minutes on entrepreneurship, because it's so important to really embrace this if you're going to pursue the self-sufficient life or homesteading, or whether you're, going to be on an eco-village. It's probably going to be more rural and further from the city. So you really got to get creative in ways to bring those cash flow mechanisms in. So we're really going to focus on that with some successful entrepreneurs. And then, yes, JP Sears will lighten the mood, and he's going to have a presentation for us after lunch that day. Again, Molly Engelhart, Matt Powers, really big name in permaculture. He's actually local too. He has a 10-acre ranch close to John and I. Jack Spearco will be presenting. So just some more tactics too on actually regenerative agriculture and gardening and such. Listen to Bailey. She's going to be discussing also, it's important to grow, if you're growing a garden, to also have relationships. So you can invite people over and do work parties and stuff, because this is really hard to do alone. It's important to, connect with your local community, and how do you bring people together in order to, work together in growing food, breaking bread. It goes back to the Bible, right? So local food producer panel And we'll have a little artisan market actually Saturday afternoon as well. So that's kind of cool. David Holmgren will round out the day. And then Sunday is all workshops. We've got some really cool workshops, exiting the healthcare system, get off of pharmaceuticals. Deb's going to be discussing buying land just in general, but also specifically if you're looking to buy land in Texas, things to be aware of. We got a regenerative culture workshop. We're having everyone focus in on this transferring wealth and resources from the matrix. The only workshop happening at 11:15 on Sunday. There's no competing workshop. We really want people to understand this so that they can set up a private membership association and get out of these old world matrix systems and begin building the new earth with these new entities and ways to organize and have self-governance and such. So community matchmaking is going to be another important workshop. This is where we have people break off into groups and really network and get to know one another based on your geographical region, as well as we'll switch halfway through on topics that you're interested in. And then to really end strongly, we've got the OG himself, Joel Salatin, joining us in person, and he has created and crafted a custom presentation for the Exit and Build Land Summit. He said this is something he's been thinking about for decades, this whole eagle and condor prophecy and the ways in which these worlds are coming together and an effort to regenerate the planet, but also a time for peace. And as we know, peace through commerce and working and cooperating. And so he's going to be discussing this. And there's really no better way to conclude the conference than that. So if you're a Live Free Academy member, we also invite you to join us for the member dinner. But other than that, that rounds out the 3-day conference. As I mentioned, we will have the farm tours before and after the event. So we hope you can join us for that. There's going to be tons of sponsors, tons of exhibitors, tons of tables. So when you attend in person, you're definitely going to have a cool experience walking through all the booths and seeing all of the groups that are there that can help aid you in your exit and build goals and living this lifestyle and connecting with organizations and institutions that already exist that are, helping folks really achieve their goals in this area. So with that being said, I feel like I just did like a little spiel all about the Land Summit, but let me bring it back to the podcast topic. It was so lovely having Betsy on the show today. Again, she will be performing at the Exit and Build Land Summit. We're going to have a concert, so that'll be really fun. I hope you guys can join us. The website for the Land Summit, it's Exit and Build Land Summit.com. It's there in the comments section. exitandbuildlandsummit.com. You can get your tickets. It's free to watch from home for the first day and a half. I hope you guys can join us. We're going to have a lot of fun. It takes a village. It's important to have strength in numbers and to connect with other people. And so we hope that you'll be there with us here in 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, it's happening in 2 weeks. So, all right, guys, with that being said, I am going to sign off and get back to event prep because we are down to the wire here, but I hope you guys can join us. Thank you for watching today. You can find more information for Betsy and her music and freedomjunkieradio.com. Really glad she was able to join us today. Bye, y'all. Have a great rest of your week, and I hope you can come on out to the Exit and Build Land Summit.